Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rochelle. This is Brampton Gardener, and on today's episode, we are going to be reviewing the OutOfAir vacuum bags. I was contacted by OutOfAir a little while ago. They sent me an email and asked if I would like to do a review of some of their products, and I was like, yes please, because we do use a lot of vacuum bags, and it's not just for freezers, it's not just for long-term storage. So I'm going to go over some of the reasons why I use the bags, and I'm going to show you a few things we're going to do with them. We're going to make some dog treats and put them in a bag. We are going to freeze up some cheese that I buy in bulk, some meat, and marinate a roast as well. So that's going to be fantastic. So first off, let's see what we got. So I have already opened and used this. Spoiler alert. So this pack here, it was originally a 4-pack of 8 11-inch by 25, and then the fourth one's still in the machine. So I got that, and then I got a smaller set of bags. Here we go. So this is the 8 by 25, so 25 feet long. So that's a lot longer than the competitors' bags, so you won't run out as early. And then they sent me these pre-made bags, which are fantastic. They are so easy, so convenient. They're just really easy to grab. So they come in a 1 gallon, 1 quart, and 1 pint, I believe. So there's all 3 of those, and it comes on this box. All right, so these here came in the box. Yeah, so there's 6 by 10, 8 by 12, and 11 by 16. Those are the measurements on the pre-made bag, and so it's really nice. You can get it in like a gift, a variety pack. Okay, so why freezer bags? So I know you guys are really aware, everyone in the US and Canada, all around the world, grocery prices are pretty crazy right now, and more often than not, it is cheaper to buy things in bulk. But a lot of people over the years have shied away from buying things in bulk, especially if they're just a small family or say they're just a single person, because they don't like it going bad. And traditionally putting it in like a Ziploc, I'm not going to say any name brands, a zippy style freezer bag, and you throw it in the freezer and you pull it out who knows how long later, and it's kind of icy and you have no idea what's in there, and it did not stay fresh, and it's just not appetizing, and you end up throwing it out, right? Or let's say you buy a big block of cheese because it's on sale, but before you can get to the end of it, it goes moldy. Sometimes, you know, Costco will have the sale on like the big flake Parmesan, and sometimes, you know what, right off the top, there's no way I'm going to get through that whole thing before it's going to go bad. So what do? You bring it home, you take half of it, and you put it in a vacuum seal bag and you throw it in the freezer. Label it, by the way, don't forget to label it. And then you're saving money because you're buying in bulk, and you're not wasting money by throwing stuff out. So a lot of times people are so afraid of buying things in bulk, they buy things individually or singly, and it's just you're paying so much more per pound for food when you're buying it that way, right? And you know what, stuff just doesn't stay fresh as long. And right now I'm talking to you single people out there. I know how hard it is to make yourself a nice, fresh, homemade, healthy meal every night. It's really hard to cook just for one. We've all been there. And you know what? Sometimes you make a meal and you follow a recipe and it turns out really great, and then you eat it the next night, and pretty soon you're tired of leftovers. So a really great idea is to freeze the meal right after you're done making it, right? Maybe leave enough out for leftovers for the next day, but you know what? I'm gonna show you this trick. Hold on. So here's a quick tip for those of you that are single or you don't like eating the same food day after day when it comes to leftovers. I saw this on a job once. This lady had a bunch of these little trays of like takeout containers, which we all have a supply of these, and she had them all lined up on the counter, and she was filling them with meals, right? So she had rice and chicken and veggies or whatever. She pre-filled a ton of these. She had, I think, like 10 of them out that she had pre-made. She'd cooked big over the weekend, and she made these all up. And then what she did, because normally what I would have done is just put the plastic lid on, throw it in the freezer, pull it out a month later, it's all freezer burn and gross, and it gets tossed in the garbage. What she did, and I just grabbed the large bag, it's probably not the right size, you're going to want to custom make the bags for this. She filled the food up, she slid it in here, and then she vacuum packed them in the container in the bag. So that way, when she was ready for a quick and healthy meal, instead of having to do takeout or order in, and for her lunches for work. I think that was her main thing, was lunches for work. So all she has to do is just cut the bag, pull it out, heat it up. And I know a lot of times, like, you're like, what? That's nothing special. But a lot of times, like when I've done that with leftovers, I just put it in a bag. And then the problem with that is you pull it out and it's like this weird frozen block. And you look at it and you're like, how the heck am I supposed to heat that up? Especially if you're at work. You gonna throw that in the microwave like that? No. So then what you have to do is you have to kind of, you know, you have to get it wet and loosen it up enough to get it out, and then you have to put it into another container. It's a whole hassle, and a lot of times that means that you're just gonna order something in. So having something that's just like super easy, super convenient, you're saving money, you're eating healthier, and you are not contributing to the real problem of food waste, which is a terrible, terrible problem. How much money gets thrown in the garbage every week in our households? And you know, you try your best and it just still happens. You know, sometimes you have a batch of bananas. Don't look at my kitchen because I have a batch of bananas. And they get kind of rough looking, and so then you take those bananas and you say, I'm gonna make banana bread, and so then you just throw it in the fridge, and then you don't make the banana bread. But you know what I should have done? When they were starting to turn, I should have just unpeeled them, thrown them in a freezer bag, throw them in the freezer, and then when I'm actually ready to make banana bread, it is ready to go, and I'm not going to be wasting them or throwing them in the garbage. So let's pop into the kitchen, and we are going to get started, and we are going to prep a few things and get using this freezer bag. Let's try them out. So first up, we're going to make some dog treats with the sweet potatoes. I washed them, I sliced them about 1/4 of an inch thin, put them on the trays, and then stuck them into the dehydrator at 135 for about 8 to 10 hours. So while those are processing, let's get on to another project. Okay, we're back in the kitchen now. This is the brand I have. I don't know what it's called. Minova? I don't know what it's called. But I mean, it's just your pretty standard vacuum sealer. So what we are going to do, we're going to start with some cheese, because you know what it's like. You go to Costco, you buy this huge block of cheese, and you know it starts to go a little funky before you have a chance to finish it off. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the medium-sized bag, which I think is going to be perfect for this. I am just going to leave the label, the plastic on it, so I know what it is, but otherwise you have this really nice space here to write out your label, what's in it, dates and all that. I actually should put the date on it so we know. Another thing that's really great is they have these fill lines marked here all along the bag. So that way, if you're filling up a bunch of things, you know, you can get them the same amount in them, which is really cool. So, well, let's slide this in. And I will mention, if I was going to freeze this, I would cut it into probably thirds. That way I can just take a piece out when I want to. But this is going to go into the fridge downstairs, and I'll just take a chunk off when I need it. That means I do like to make sure I have extra room here on the end, just so that I have room to cut it and reseal it so I can keep using the same bag. So that's another thing when you're doing the bags. You don't want to make your bag too small, because you want to be able to keep reusing it. And this is going to be tricky with one hand. Hold on. One hand, we'll see. So we're just going to close that down. And it just has to sit here. It doesn't have anything like a fancy hose or anything it has to be in. It just has to be in that spot there. I'm going to close it down. And I'm going to push vacuum and seal right here. And we're sealing. There we go. All right, and now let's go and try some with something else. Okay, next up, one of my absolute favorite treats. I hardly ever buy it because it's so expensive, and you get this huge package of it at Costco, and it's really the best value for your money. And you know, you just don't have enough people to go through it. I'm the only one really that likes it that much. So I am going to portion this up into sections. I have these little plastic dividers that I got from my paratha. So last time I made paratha, it comes with these in between the pieces, so I saved them. So I'm going to cut it into portion sizes. I'm going to stack it on the paper, and we're going to put it in one of these bags. And then we are going to seal some of these up, and then I get to have my smoked salmon whenever I want. And I bought it this week at Costco because it was $5 off. All right, so we got our salmon ready to go, and this time I decided to use the roll instead, just in case you don't have the bags. I'll show you how to make one. This one is 8 inches by 25 feet long, so you're just going to take the one end and you're going to have to seal it, right? So you're going to put it at the edge like that, close it, and then you're just going to hit seal. All right, so now we have our nice seal. So see how it puts like a double line there, and that's going to be the bottom of the bag. And then just kind of lay it next to the food you're going to be using it, eyeball it. Now, if this was just a single serving, I would probably try and conserve my bag and make it as small as I can. But since I have different pieces, I'm going to want to be able to cut it and then reseal it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because in the long run, that's going to save me rather than having to make new bags every time I take anything out of the freezer. So I think right here is a good spot to cut it. So we're going to cut that. I'm going to set everything in it and then we're going to seal it up. Okay, and then don't forget to write your label on, and I actually recommend doing that before you put this stuff in the bag, but I did not do that. Of course not. So just like before, I'm going to set it in here. I'm going to try and prop it up a little bit because it's hanging down a little bit. Okay, and you just want it nice and straight without any creases or bubbles, which is why I recommend using 2 hands when doing this. Okay, and then you're going to push it down like this, and you're going to push the vacuum button again, but I'm going to set it down and actually do it with both hands. Okie dokie. All right, and now I have my beautiful smoked salmon that is going to keep for several months in the freezer. Look at that. So this is how you can buy bulk and save, and then when you pull that food out of the freezer, you're not wondering, is it freezer burn? Is it still okay? It's going to be just as fresh as the day you put it in there. All right, let's check on those sweet potatoes. They are nicely dried out and hard as a rock. So those are nice and crisp. So let's go get those in a bag, and we're going to seal those up too. All right, so we got them in. I used one of the bags again because these bags are super convenient. They're perfect size and they're already made for you. I have the label on. I've switched over to the dry button, and then we're going to hit vacuum and seal. It's making a lot of crinkling noises. It really sucked it in nice and tight. Wow, look at that. So maybe on something like this, it might be better to write it on after, but I can still read what that is. All right. And there we go. That is some dehydrated sweet potatoes. So those are going to last forever. I'm not sure if Dexter really liked them, so I might just hold on to them and throw them into like soups or stews or something like that. You could also just slice them up and freeze them if you wanted, but honestly, we're running out of room in our freezer, so this is nice to have in the pantry. So yeah, another thumbs up on the OutOfAir bags from OutOfAir. Okay, so he custom made the bag by sealing one end of it, and then you can cut it, pull it through, and decide how long you want it to be, and cut it. It's crooked, but whatever, that's fine. Alright, and that's going to give us plenty of room to add in some marinade and still get the juices out, because when you are doing something that has a lot of liquid in it, like with a marinade or anything like that that's moist, because it's got like the moist button, that's going to pull a lot of the liquid up, and so you want to make sure you have plenty of room up here so you can still pull the air out and get the nice seal on it. And a little pat of butter, so it's going to give it some nice flavor. You can season it up however you want. And now he's just going to seal this nice and tight. That's going to help pull the marinade into the meat. And he's going to be doing the manual pulse instead of doing it automatically. That way you can pull it and you can keep an eye on where the liquid is coming, because otherwise it's going to start pulling it all the way up. Okay, and you want to stop it before the liquid gets into the machine at all, and then it's sealing. So I'm going to say, well done, OutOfAir. I'm really impressed with the products. It did perform wonderfully in every test we put it through. It worked great in our off-brand machine. And it's a great product. So check them out. Don't forget to use my link down below. You get 10% off until June 2025 with that code, which is outofair.com, Brampton Gardeners.
once you vacuum seal this shut, it is ready for whatever you want to do with it. You can throw it back into the freezer. You can put it into the fridge to defrost and marinate for a few days. You can throw it into the sous vide, the Instant Pot, however you want to cook it. All right, so let's check out the website really quick, Out of Air. So they have lots of different options on the top here. You can click on bags, and they have several different sizes. They have the mini, which is 4x6. They have 6x10, which is pint. They have quart sizes and gallon sizes. And down here, I think this is really cool. They have a sample pack. So if you're not sure what sizes you might like, or you're having trouble visualizing them, you can get for $5, you can get a sample pack, and you can decide later which ones you want to order. Also, scrolling back up to the top, we're going to click on zipper bags. So I've never had any zipper bags in a freezer bag, but I do think that's really cool, especially if it's something that you're going to be getting in and out of a bag with. That would be super handy. Then they have the 25-foot rolls, which are the ones that
I really love buying meat in bulk. You can cut it up, portion it, throw in the bag, put different kinds of marinades, different kinds of seasonings on it, have it in the fridge, and then when you're ready, before work in the morning, you can take it out and throw it in your sous vide, or you can throw it in the crock pot, or you can just put it out and put it in the fridge so that it's ready to go when you get home. And you're not ordering it, and you're not eating unhealthy foods, and so much of the food that's made in restaurants has so much, processed foods and bad oils and just hidden ingredients that you don't even see. To say nothing of the price, like it is so expensive. You might look at the cost of a vacuum sealer or vacuum bags and be like, oh my gosh, how much, how long is it going to take me to make that money back? But honestly, if you use it diligently, you are going to save yourself so much money. It's going to pay for itself in no time. So I hope you consider trying Out of Air freezer bag. I've been really impressed with them, and I will say they're very thick. They have I think on the container it says 4 mil plastic on them. They're very thick. They are food safe, freezer safe, sous vide safe. They've passed all of the tests for everything. I like how clear the labeling on it is. I like how you have the measurement marks along here, so you can, make things evenly when you're doing batches, or you know exactly how much is in each of the containers. I love that they have pre-cut ones. It's so easy and so quick to just grab and throw it in. You don't have to make the bag yourself, but you still, it's still a good idea to have some custom sized bags, because you might have some like weird, shaped things that you want to throw in there. So I'm just really impressed with the bags. I thank you so much for sending them to me and giving me this opportunity to try them out. And I am excited to, be saving my harvest this summer. I am going to be getting lots of herbs and tomatoes and peppers. I absolutely love just throwing the fresh peppers in the freezer. I'm still pulling out Scotch bonnets from the freezer from last year. When I want to make a quick dish or something, I can just pull them out, chop them up from frozen, and it's just so nice to have them in the freezer, but safe. I know they're not getting, freezer burnt or anything like that. So honestly, in the long run, it has really helped us save a lot of money using different freezer bags over the years. You can buy in bulk. You're not throwing out food. You're not throwing money in the garbage that just gets wasted. And sometimes it makes you come up with creative ideas on things to do, though. How can I preserve this? You have a bunch of tomatoes sitting on the counter. What am I going to do with them? You can make them into a sauce. You can do all of this. You can jar them and can them. But you know what? Sometimes you don't have the time for that. That season comes in, and sometimes your produce is just like overflowing on the kitchen counter, and you're like, what am I going to do with it? Well, you can just take the whole tomatoes, throw them in a freezer bag, freeze them, and then later in the season when it's not so hot out, or when the weather's outside and you want something to do, that's when you can make your sauce, right? So you don't have to do it when they're at their peak, because you can throw them in the freezer and you can do it later or throughout the year. So go get yourself some Out of Air bags. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm sure you will see lots of these in the coming videos when I finally get to harvest, because we will be planting soon. Hopefully this weekend or this upcoming week, we will be planting, and then I will have things that I can actually put into this bag. And the best part about saving money on food is you can spend it on plants.